I do feel now that I'm on the participating side of the world. I'm not just taking other agendas. I'm listening for the highest way to participate in like where nature and community and marketplace kind of overlap. And like we
Yeah.
have to rewrite the fabric of trade and business and what's allowed. So for spilling things into the water and now the air, like plastic, it's really quite understood that we're consuming 5 grams of plastic every week as humans on average.
Yeah.
That's a credit card.
Mm.
And the biggest idea for me is to help people just lengthen their attention span. I
Okay.
literally came from the advertising agency, and my job was to chop up your attention span to have you do this other thing. But just wait, listen.
Yeah.
You could also buy some 7-Up
Yeah.
and some pasta sauce. I've got it right in my backpack. And so they were taking volunteers at the Javits Center, which is a giant convention center. So thousands of us were down there. There were all these trucks coming in, sandwiches, water bottles, and surprisingly, little gloves for dogs, little booties, like glass-proof ones, because the dogs were the ones looking for people in all the fire and the wreckage. And there's like hundreds of thousands of panes of glass shattered. So these dogs are walking around with like hundreds of shards of glass in their paws. So after a few days of that, somebody from the Salvation Army or the first Red Cross and the DOJ, there was, and the Office of Emergency Management, there was like just different leaders from different groups just like being there, and they took a few of us down to be in the pit. So for the next 3 weeks or so, I got to be in the pit, and I had some like identification that let me know I had my own like ventilator and mask, and I had my thickest like work pants, so I wouldn't be like a patient for them, right?
Yeah.
I knew enough to like just not get hurt and not be a problem. But we collected water and these dog booties, and we delivered them in the pit every half an hour or so, just walking water into the pit. Smoke and fire for weeks. Those burns, the fires were going. It looked. I mean, I don't know any other like war setting experience or anything military whatsoever. But you'd see like these piles of metal and say, "Oh, that was a car. There's no paint. There's no chairs. It's just like there's no fabric. It's just all burnt. No rubber. Just you have to like use your imagination to imagine that was a car once."
Yeah.
And I can see, oh, these streets. I know West Street. I know this other street. I used to know. I knew someone who lived on that street. And it's just smoke and like steel and imagine if you take a steel beam and just tear it like that.
Yeah.
How sharp those bits are. Like long, like blades that are many feet long. So I really got to see like I was calm in this setting. People are crying and running around, and I was calm, but I didn't have the skill of the firefighter or the iron worker or the policeman. And of course, unfortunately, they didn't find any injured people really to speak of. There was only the deceased.
Yeah.
And so over the next couple of years, I would actually go to my local firefighting place like that season, and they said I was too old to apply to be a firefighter in that neighborhood. I didn't try too hard, but I just went to the first place. And that's when I realized maybe I could be medical, be a medic.
Okay.
And
So that's when it first crossed your mind.
that's when it really crossed my mind. There's another time earlier, but there's some other lighter stories about it.
Yeah. So you went and studied medicine,
Yeah, so
and you were already into yoga at the same time.
Yep, I'm practicing. I became like a senior teacher for Alan Finger.
Okay.
A few of us get to sit by his side at the front of class for meditation and teach and learn.
Did you notice a change in your physical health then? Like how soon after you left the advertising agency did you notice a change in your health? Was it immediately because you did this?
I didn't really think about it.
Crazy
It was
hours.
just, I think, I'm sure, yes.
Okay.
I'm sure, like, I didn't look peaked anymore. I was outside. I was in the sunlight.
Yeah.
I was teaching like 4, 5, 6 times a day. So I'd get on the subway
That's a lot.
many times a day,
Yeah.
and I would begin to lose my voice sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just wonderful to be like 28, 29 in New York, running around,
Yeah.
meeting friends, it was a whole different existence than being
Stuck in an
at
office.
285.
Yeah.
Which I still look back on my advertising days as was wonderful. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But it's just a different
Yeah,
evolution
totally.
of participation.
Okay, so then you went to medical school and then you graduated
Yeah.
as a surgeon?
No.
Okay.
I pursued internal medicine. I did enjoy surgery
Yeah.
during medical school. I
Yeah.
got to a couple dozen throats after thyroid surgery.
Yeah.
got to see my work with the, and you know, when you're, as you're training, you can throw the sutures, and
You can do what? Can you
you
say that
can
again?
you can you can close the skin after a procedure. So the
Yeah.
thyroid surgeon, the general surgeon who does that,
Yeah.
has a procedure, and the resident, or sometimes a medical student who seems interested,
Okay.
can do that. And if there's a slight, like, incorrection, like a mistake in the stitch, they could just correct it.
Okay. So that's what you were doing.
Yeah, I got to do that. Was like a very small part of my very long, what felt like a long medical education.
How long was it?
But I loved surgery. I thought it was amazing. I loved
Yeah.
urology. It's 4 years of school, four
Okay.
years in the classroom, and then 2 years, third and fourth year in the hospitals in
Okay.
rotations. Um, and I did want to pursue internal medicine and be in the office.
Can you tell me what internal medicine is?
Internal medicine is a general medicine doctor.
Okay, so
Um,
like a general practitioner
a general
in the UK.
practitioner, yeah. So it would be a general practitioner could be in the office,
Okay.
or you could be a hospitalist, which means a general internal medicine doctor in the hospital.
Hmm.
And usually, well, in every case, you have to do that training before you could consider becoming a cardiologist, or a
Okay.
nephrologist to study kidney,
Okay.
or a GI and hepatologist who studies the gut and the liver,
Okay.
and so on.
Okay.
Um, so this is the most common specialization, is this to be a general
And
internal
that's
medicine
what you
doctor.
did.
Mhm.
So you achieved that.
I did. Yeah, it was great.
Okay.
In the meantime, I did meet a girl from
Mhm.
Canada,
Mhm.
love of my life, who happened to be
I was
raised in
wondering when the
Bali.
girls are going to come up. Okay.
All the girl. We met when I was doing my first year at Columbia,
Okay.
and she was in fashion, working for Donna Karan,
Okay.
and it was not until, like, I guess 5 years later, when I was in the midst of medical school, when she was called back to work in Bali.
She lived in Bali?
She moved to Bali in 2010, when in the middle of my medical school,
Okay. Okay.
and then I guess about a year later we got engaged.
You did?
Um,
Wow.
And then
Okay.
we got married in 2012, and then it became clear that we'd be raising our kids in Bali. That's all relevant because in the midst of all that was me trying to figure out
Yeah.
what my medical career might begin to look like.
Yeah.
And so I realized that I could do internal medicine and have a part-time life in Indonesia, and part-time life in the U.S.
Okay.
So it ended up being month on and month off for years.
What was your, like, did you have any ideas on what you were going to do in terms of work? Like, once you finish your medical degree, you've got all of these things behind you, expertise in different fields. Like, what happened then? You were still teaching yoga, obviously.
Like, not as often, but yes, occasionally. Then we had to figure out the paperwork in Indonesia to do it there. Well, our kids were born in 2015 and 19. But at some point, my son was saying, Appa, sometimes when you're not here, I kind of forget about you.
Oh,
And then I was like, oh, what's this all for? Like, what am I maximizing for?
yeah.
What am I, like, what's the win here?
Yeah.
I tell the joke that when you finish medical school, they give you a brochure to give the spouse, that wherever you get a job, that spouse should, like, follow you. But I apparently forgot to give her the brochure.
Okay.
So that said, I think in our family, I find that the work of Ibuku that we founded, where she is the creative director and founder, is really important. That being able to design with natural materials,
Yeah.
and to take advantage of the local craftsmanship and the excellence that those hands have, is really important story for around the equatorial belt, across the tropics, and maybe further north as there's more options as you go north and south. But to maximize that creativity, to have people live in beauty within, like, how nature actually works,
Yeah.
is a really special idea.
Yeah.
And I think if we do it well enough, either ourselves or the diaspora of people who are infected with this idea, then hopefully we could actually slow down urbanization to some extent, have people enjoy the pride of their work in their neighborhoods, and then increase whatever else can happen there. The beauty of the design, the beauty of that industry, the tourism, or whatever else is associated with it. How do you, like, actually participate on a larger level?
Okay.
I'm very much inspired by my family and my wife's family. They really are a creative powerhouse.
Yeah.
And to find ways to really, like, play within how nature works is really exciting.
Absolutely.
And I find that I happen to have at least 10 years of experience of doing it as a physician in the hospital, my like that craft, and also for 2 decades teaching yoga. And I feel like there's a kind of a spectrum of how we participate as bodies and minds and brains in nature. There's a way to participate. And my goal isn't for anyone to do my thing better. My real goal for each of my students and patients and my fellow stranger is that they do what's like most important for them in the longest attention span. And if I can help like medical stuff or physical stuff be less of a factor,
Yeah.
then if I can do it in a simple way that they can learn over a 1 hour yoga class, then so be it. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
They don't have to meet me in the hospital or meet me in the ICU or the intensive care unit or we could delay that visit,
Yeah, which
hopefully
is
by
what you
5
say in your
years or forever.
sessions. Yeah. You mentioned earlier, you mentioned storytelling as being a key factor in what you do. Where does that stem from?
I think it stems from maybe my earliest days of listening to stories as my grandparents would read from the Bible, or as my father would talk about his clients. I used to dream that Procter and Gamble, as Cincinnati, was this like magical, beautiful place that my father would leave for 3 days at a time to go to Cincinnati, Ohio, and that's where Procter and Gamble was, and they
Yeah.
make lots of packaged goods.
Yeah.
Um, and so he would always tell me, my father, that it was really important to find a way to build a bridge from your audience, from one other person back towards you. Not to say, look how special I am, look at
Yeah.
the school I went to, look what I represent and my race or my stature or whatever. To say, like, look at me and look what I'm doing and come do this. But it's really about listening for what someone's on about, what their direction is. And hopefully if there's some overlap, then you can, like, you might be able to kind of make a promise as to how that can
Yeah.
grow for them, or you can also benefit from that.
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
that feedback loop just feels true.
Hmm.
I think we talked about this once before, but I do tend to ask myself when I'm in the patient room or I'm in front of any group, I ask myself, sometimes not literally anymore because it's kind of internalized, but what's the promise that these people think that I've made that I get to be in front of this group? And am I up for addressing that? And beyond that, what else would I like to share with them that doesn't like betray that trust? And if it overlaps nicely enough that all those things kind of come together, then it's a nice feeling.
It's a nice place to be.
And hopefully, and if you have honest people in that group who give you feedback and say, actually, that was crap, or that was a waste of time, or you promised one thing and you gave us another, then I have to listen for that. And most people don't tell you; they'll just like not come back, right?
Yeah.
And it happens in the hospital where like I sometimes have a plan and say, look, this is my plan. I've got my nice stethoscope and my white coat on, and here's the plan. And it doesn't matter if they won't participate, right? It doesn't matter that I went to school A and school B.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are people, they asked for
Yeah.
help. And if I didn't listen for what they weren't willing to do,
Yeah.
or God forbid I forgot like their allergy, which the system doesn't really let happen anymore. If I forgot something about their story, then they won't participate. And we've seen that in the office. So really listening for like the teach back for them to tell me what they care about.
So what you're saying is not storytelling from your perspective. It's the storytelling that you hear from outside of you. Because in my mind, I was like, you being the storyteller, but actually you're the listener.
Yeah, my friend Matt Ross will say that Rajiv is an aggressive listener. Yeah, I think there's fun. There's all this is fun for me. I do enjoy it. If I didn't have fun, I wouldn't. Like, it's really not worth going to medical school just to, like,
No.
for the attention and the relative like
Yeah.
nobility in your town. You have to really want to solve some of these things, And I really enjoy yoga as well. Every time I've taught yoga, I look back at that hour and say, this is like the best thing I could have done with this hour. And that's a really nice feeling that just showed up over the years.
I've got so many questions. So, okay, brilliant. I
Okay.
love that. So you're an aggressive listener. Where did you learn to be a listener? When did that start? Was that a conscious thing, or are you just really interested in people?
I think it comes from just being really lonely as a teenager. I felt like just complete, like I think maybe just the sense of belonging from like the first story, just coming in like being the
Yeah,
outsider who speaks the wrong
yeah,
language, and like you just never feel you're in. And the in group in my town was like based on like this like melange of brand and money and family and
yeah.
language, and like I just didn't think I could get it. And I do feel now that I'm on the participating side of the world. I'm not just taking other agendas. I'm listening for the highest way to participate in like where nature and community and marketplace kind of
Hmm.
overlap.
Hmm.
And again, that's where it's really like beautiful to be part of a family that's really creative and driven,
Yeah,
and trying to solve that
yeah.
in a way that's like not just self-aggrandizing, but to listen for what the community is like asking for,
Hmm.
or in some ways like aching for.
Yeah,
And
but we've
people,
got to be listening more. It's so important, honestly. Yeah, let's just step back a bit.
yeah,
So, in terms of, let's look at now. Like, are you still a practicing doctor
no,
today? Okay. So, do you miss it?
I do. I really loved I really, it was, one of our professors said that this is a profession. You are, every day you come to the hospital and you profess that you are the person for the job to help this person's grandmother who
Mm.
has a trouble breathing or has chest pain or has
Mm.
some difficulty, and they're just asking for help, and you say you're on the job to
Mm.
help figure that out. Um, and I think it really comes out of like my sense of being a good Boy Scout for my community. I
Yeah.
really felt like, even though, like, let's say the hospitals I was working at was 50 to 100 miles away from my house where
Mm-hmm.
I grew up, but to me New Jersey just felt like my neighborhood. So I
Mm.
just knew these people, and I felt like I was like just helping my neighbors,
Yeah.
really quite literally.
Yeah.
And they didn't always believe that like this brown guy like
Yeah.
was from here originally or not. And it doesn't really matter.
No.
Like I've literally put my stethoscope on two swastikas, like tattooed on the chest, and like they're just people. They're just
Mm.
people who need help. And maybe I don't want to deal with that person like in the middle of the night in some neighborhood, but I'm just
Mm.
offering the best I can for
Mm.
that person.
Yeah.
And it feels it's a real privilege. It's really people who get to be doctors. We're just really lucky.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Every Asian parent's dream.
Well, not my parents weren't asking for it. They
No,
weren't.
but look what happened. Okay, so in that's in terms of medical field. I just want to look at now.
Yeah.
So, right now, you're a father, you're a husband. You don't practice medicine. You do yoga classes.
Hmm.
You do. Do you do a lot more yoga classes now than you ever had done before?
No, I've taught. And in my early New York days, I was doing a lot. I was doing
Okay.
as much as I could, which was, let's say, like 28 classes,
Okay.
25 classes a week,
Hmm.
sometimes 7 a day.
Wow.
Um, I should really more than six, I'd begin to lose my voice.
Yeah.
And
Can't
you're
even.
getting like 25, 35, $45 an hour, and
Yeah.
like you like traveled an hour for
Yeah.
each of the 1 hour jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so
Okay.
definitely I was more scrappy, like running around. And it was actually really because of the way I think I tend to listen, and my parents had small businesses as I grew up.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh,
I
did they? What
see,
what businesses do they have?
my mother ran a travel agency
Okay.
called Personal Travel,
Okay.
and she ran that for 40 years.
Hmm.
Um, from 85 till her death. And then my
Okay.
father ran a group called Winsight and CEO Vision, which built on his marketing expertise.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also built a whole framework on how like we would relate to nature as individuals in a better way.
Amazing. That sounds
That we
amazing.
that we like, kind of assign blame and responsibility on the wrong thing,
Mm-hmm.
and we forget that all of us are really ourself, that we are
Mm.
one thing. And when
Beautiful.
you extrapolate on that simple principle, that there's actually ways in how we can communicate, and how flow, like there are like kind of intrinsic flows in business and branding
Mm.
that kind of come through that.
Okay.
So
So
I used to make cold calls for them when I was 12. For
for your
him,
parents.
I'd make cold calls for my dad
Okay.
and say like I'm 12 years old and say, "Hello, sir. Would you be interested in some this or that?" Winsight's offering this
It's the
kind of service.
best stage to start. I need to get my daughter onto it.
Yeah.
So, do you think that your yoga practice is enhanced because of the knowledge you have about the body, like as a medical doctor?
Oh, for sure. I think I'm just very curious on your behalf. I'm curious for myself, of course, because otherwise
Mm,
I wouldn't have started it. But I'm also curious for the common challenges that come up in our population. So that comes from my practical practice in the hospital, seeing who comes in with with any of the first five most common symptoms,
mm,
and then what are the handful of things that I have to think about first that can be challenging or life-threatening, or that we can address right now, or can
yeah.
leave till next week.
Mm-hmm.
And here also in yoga, it's like it's the acuity is clearly much different. The time frame is longer.
Mm,
And so the combination of my kind of my Boy Scout speaking in front of the room,
mm,
telling the 11-year-olds and compelling them that I'm excited enough that you should consider this, to um, to the advertising of understanding of guessing why each of you came into that room.
mm,
And some people want to be more impressive or look better or fit in that dress, or and some people just want to be like just have a smooth life and be like as healthy as they were last year for the next
mm,
20 years, or there's a bunch of things, and hopefully like this cross section can be met by my curiosity, and yeah, my understanding of bone density and calcium absorption
mm,
and how muscles and tendons and joints interact.
mm,
I've developed kind of my own sense of how we breathe and how we move and what the purpose of doing these things 5 times
mm,
and those things another amount of times. I've I'm also listening from an advertising story of like, what are you here for,
mm.
and what else can we stretch you to consider? And the biggest
Mm.
idea for me is to help people just lengthen their attention span. I
Okay.
literally came from the advertising agency, and my job was to chop up your attention span to have you do this other thing.
Mm.
But just wait, listen,
Yeah.
you could also buy some 7 Up
Yeah.
and some pasta sauce. I've got it right in my backpack. To how do we actually sit and lengthen your attention span to realize what you really want to stand for more? And
Yeah.
I want literally medical things and health things to be less of a factor so you can do what you think is most important for your life. And if you stretch your attention span for time and for community as a population,
Mm.
not just one person, but as that whole group, and I'm not here to tell them what they should be focusing on,
Mm-hmm.
but that when they do that, that a better thing will come up from them
Mm.
than if they didn't, than if they had to be more reactionary or just have like 1 day feedback loops or
Yeah.
1 week feedback loops. But if you can stretch it to 1 year or longer, then we make different decisions. We buy different products. We spend on different things. We protect our sleep. We and do all these things, right? We
Mm.
choose our food differently. Then we stop having so many things packaged in plastic or
Yeah.
with all those preservatives, and we get to know a farmer's name and eat something from their farm, if not several things.
Mm.
Um, and it's also how we live. Like all the things that like are immediately around us. Like in us is the drink and the food we had today.
Mm-hmm.
On us is the clothing. Around us is the shelter. And if you can participate in all those industries
Mm.
with a little more consideration for attention span, for time, and for community,
Mm.
some things just like become intolerable, and some things are just really the way to go.
When did community, like I hear you in terms of your Boy Scout days
Hmm.
and connecting with community, and it was community, but when you came to Bali, um, how did you find your community? What were you in search of anything? Like obviously it was a big deal for you and it was a new space. How did you find your community? Like,
Um, I guess I'm still looking in some ways, but
mm,
very deeply my community was at the time my wife and my
yeah,
kids.
yeah,
Um, and I remember telling her early days living here
yeah.
that I really needed some aspect of New York to be here. And I
And,
didn't need it to be like the big city and the clubbing. What I needed was that people like fought to be just fought to be in a place where they could perform at their best.
mm,
And New York does that. Like whether you're in restaurants or advertising or banking or whatever, like
mm,
that's the place where the best go
mm,
to be painters or dancers or creative
mm, mm,
or
mm,
engineering. Um, And I think what's interesting here is that the Green School has actually brought a lot of
Yeah.
people here who have options, who
Yeah.
won at some aspect of life,
Mm.
get to choose where to be,
Mm.
and they get to be in a place where nature must be a factor. Otherwise, they wouldn't really be here. And Bali acts as this amazing microcosm for how the world actually is.
100%. Yeah.
When the rains come hard, sometimes the village stops, and you can't get to work unless you clear the gully, clear wherever the drain
The
is,
road, yeah.
right? Because it stops everything. And in New York, we get to send like millions of pounds of trash on the boat to some other place.
Mm.
And if that stops, like there's a problem.
Mm.
And we get to not see it, but we know it's there. And so we have to be listening to these feedback loops.
Mm.
And the extent to which we make the producers responsible or the consumer responsible or the trash picker responsible, that's a different political story.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're all complicit. We're all
Yeah.
participating, and it's all going, like physically, it looks like the evidence is going in the wrong direction.
Mm.
And I'm hopeful that we find innovations that make it possible for us to just be able to focus on community instead of focusing on how to get trash away from our immediate space.
Mm. So community for you
Community here
is...
I think it has to do with what do I say? To what we're committed to creating.
And what are you committed to creating as part of a community?
I think it ends up being quite simple. Like elegance and health within nature. You know, like health along a longer time span and longer in consideration for more community. Doesn't really count as being healthy if like this is the only body that's healthy in my community. I
agree with you.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I'm listening for ways, and we've talked about like how do you make things more accessible? How do you allow people who, if price or time is a factor, how do you offer that to them? Putting it online or making it different times. Making like cleaner foods accessible to more people around you. These are all ways to do that.
Okay. The other thing that I really want to ask you about is your voice. I know you've been in the choir, you've sung in the choir, you've sounded like you've had some amazing training. And after every yoga session, you sing a song, or you've sung a bhajan. And personally, it's incredibly, for me, I'm sure it's for others as well, it's incredibly powerful because your voice, the vibration of your voice penetrates everything in that room. It's so powerful. I get how yoga is such a powerful tool, and I didn't know until I came here. You know, I have friends who are yoga instructors, many in the UK, and I did some yoga in the UK, but when I came here, and because you are part of the community and you offered the yoga at school, it was just easy for me to be part of that. I struggled big time at the beginning, but now I see huge value in it personally for me. But one of the things that you do that no other yoga instructor that I've ever been to before is sing. Where does that come from? Like, where did that come from? Was that just something you just added to the end of every session that you did, or when did you start?
It didn't seem like a big deal when I first did it, so I'm not sure when it first happened.
Okay.
I definitely did it at least 20 years ago to my med school classmates because one of them still like makes fun of me and sings it back to me, which is really sweet. Shout out to Andrew Lipsky. For me, I sing Siahamba Kukunyan Kwenkos, which is a song in Zulu that we learned in choir.
Can you just translate that for the...
We are marching in the light of love, or we are marching in the light of God. And usually if you look it up, whatever that sounds like to you on Google, you'll see on YouTube, you'll see little choirs of African kids mostly, but they have, anyone can be singing it, of course, but you see it in like much high
pitched
frequency, high pitch and also high speed.
Okay.
And it's like very like frenetic and energetic and enthusiastic and children and bright faces.
Yeah.
And I think I'm trying. I listen for the poetry of yoga. I
Well,
literally
stop there a
believe
minute. What did you just say? You listen to the poetry of
I
yoga.
listen for the poetry of yoga. Um,
Can you just stop for a minute and just tell me what does that mean?
so the first Yoga Sutra is Atha Yoga Nushasanam,
Hmm.
which means in this moment the yoga can begin,
Okay.
loosely translated.
Yeah.
Um, and I believe that literally in this moment there's infinite potential
Yeah.
at all times.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like a throwaway, but also like that there's a moment when I ask people to consider that this is the beginning of your healthy path.
Hmm.
That sometimes we think we slice it up into times, or sometimes we think, okay, well, next month is January, so I'll get healthy next January because that's what
Hmm.
resolutions are
Yeah.
for.
Yeah. Hmm.
Or Mondays, that's what it's for. And we happen to often meet on Mondays.
Hmm.
Um, but in this moment that there's like infinite potential, it's like really powerful if like you're already doing the thing. Like
Yeah.
if it's not like I'm gonna do it tomorrow. There's like
Hmm.
this literal like verbal cue and tool and technology that keeps it from being now and part of you and part of your continuum.
Hmm.
That it's gonna be something you participate in.
Hmm.
But in this moment, and if you can stretch out that attention span for what all can be,
Hmm.
and include the things you're participating in,
Hmm.
then that's like this beautiful thing.
So is that where the poetry is?
That's where that's literally where the poetry is,
In that
and I
space?
find myself. I mean, we talk in Bali about trance and like kind of zoning in or getting into flow states, and I feel sometimes I forgot what happened in the previous hour of teaching. I just
Hmm.
like get into the flow of it.
Hmm.
I buy into my own sense of like self hypnosis.
You're in the
Um,
zone.
yeah, and sometimes I miss left and right, but not more than like once every like 20 hours of teaching, and so really trying to find this. What I most want to have is a non-bad experience for someone who's coming for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really feel sad if someone says, "Oh, yeah, it was 8 years ago I went and the teacher was too much and I never went back."
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, so that can be sometimes frustrating for like the advanced student who's like done all the stuff and
Hmm.
wants to get the best stuff out of it. But I think that we've also found this practice where you can like add more complexity from the beginning, starting really quite basic in the first minute, and in the second and fourth and eighth minute, like there's just more to consider in each breath. And
Hmm.
if it gets to be too much, then I just stick to the first three basics of
Hmm.
every pose has breath, every time you're always protecting your spine,
Hmm.
and everything else is secondary.
So when you talk about finding the poetry, is this finding the poetry in the space of the class, or is it finding the poetry within yourself in that moment? Or is it all of it?
I think it's all of it. I mean,
Okay.
I think I am, and maybe to a fault, but I'm really curious to connect uh, for the message to be received that you deserve to be healthy in the picture you see for yourself.
Why did you say just now, maybe to a fault? What does that mean?
Um, because I, I, the extent to which like it matters what my audience thinks of me, like
Yeah.
maybe I'm like considering them like more than myself when really, because when I'm teaching yoga teachers to teach, which I did a lot more of earlier,
Hmm.
I ask them to consider that their mouth isn't here,
Hmm.
but that their mouth is right here.
Hmm.
That as they speak, they're the first recipient of the news that they're sharing with the room. Because
Okay.
and I noticed that very early on in my yoga career because I was almost all of my work on the early days was substituting for people who lost their voice or who were injured in class,
Interesting.
who were
Yeah.
like not warmed up and showed them something and they pulled the thing,
Yeah.
or they lost their voice for a few days.
Hmm.
And so last minute they're like, "Hey, tomorrow can you cover for me?"
Yeah.
Um, and that's where I think my choral background comes in because
Yeah.
I can speak for 7 hours without and have some of it be from here and not be
Hmm.
from the throat.
Yeah.
Um,
You don't sound like Tony Robbins yet.
yeah.
Okay, so in the process of actually teaching a yoga class, at the beginning of a class, do you know what you're going to do, or does it show up as you're teaching?
It shows up as I'm teaching most. I mean, I've taught for like 5 or 10,000 hours. I'm not sure. Like easily
Yeah.
recorded for 4,000 hours. I had to
Mm.
make a log for my highest, whatever the highest certification is for Yoga Alliance. And so I'm watching the group and I'm just making sure no one's left behind, for one. And
Okay.
then
Is that why you keep asking me if I'm all right? Because I'm the one who's always getting left behind.
um,
Okay.
I do like that in our class, like I know like everyone's name and I
Yeah.
know them
Yeah.
all. I can see the development over time.
Mm.
So, and just to keep it human and light, right?
Yeah.
So it's very much everyone's included. It's very approachable.
Mm-hmm.
That whatever you're doing, if you're at all participating and you're breathing and you're
Yeah.
like with us, then like you get credit for participating and your
Yeah.
body gets credit for participating.
Yeah.
You don't have to do the fancy thing to get like
Mm.
full credit.
Mm.
Um, and doing the most basic things, you can still use like many muscles in your body to do the
Oh my
most
God,
basic things.
100%. Like even when you say turn your ankle in a little bit, you can feel the difference in
Mm-hmm.
your entire spine and your leg. It's just really interesting how that tiny little shift,
Yeah.
which nobody's really said before in the years that I've done yoga. So it's these tiny alignments that make all the difference in the pose, in the posture.
Yeah, maybe it's the 10,000 hours rule and I crossed it at some point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Maybe it
but I
is.
really see like in a warrior one pose, a lot of people have that back foot at some angle, 45
Yeah,
degrees,
yeah,
and that back blade of the foot is off the ground,
yeah,
and so it's resting on the instep
yeah,
of the foot, as we
yeah,
call it.
yeah.
But if you lift the toes up, then the back foot tends to have to go down, and then
Mm,
that toe can come up, and then you have a much more like alive foot.
mm,
And if you're doing warrior pose and you're supposed to see some kind of warrior aspect to that, to the poetry of that posture,
yeah,
then like you'd have to have connection with the earth. And of course, you can still breathe and your spine is safe. And still, even though your feet are supposed to be flat on that pose, you still want breath and spine to be first. And I've just noticed that there's just certain positions where like your body just has to be more active. And in the hands, we talk about how the hands being down and using the whole arm
and
and
every
both
finger.
sides of the wrist.
Yeah,
Because we tend to use the outside of the wrist. And when we use the outside of the wrist, then we use the trapezius more into the shoulder. So how do you distribute that stress across the body? And I think I'm listening for that in the community as well.
yeah,
And I think that was my early hope in studying international relations for like how do you distribute the pressure so like one group isn't going to like come out with a sickle and
yeah,
cut the other people in half,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah. So do you feel like you're creating in your class as you move through it?
Do I feel like I'm
Is there an
creating?
element of creativity in your yoga?
To the extent that I think creativity is a good thing, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I think I'm I think I'm listening for a palette of what options people have to play with, like be playful with their body.
Okay.
I think I watch people going from like not being allowed to participate to letting it go, from
Yeah, yeah,
thinking they don't
nice.
look the part to like not giving an F to like let it
Yeah,
go and just play.
yeah,
Um, and some of it gets kind of pedagogical and like repetitive, and like the shoulder should be here and there and the hand could be here and there, and I try to instill that in the beginning sometimes, and then find out where we can flow and play. And I think in the near future I'll be doing a larger range of classes, so
okay.
we can actually explore like the depth of what all practice includes.
So your yoga journey will absolutely continue into the future.
I very much think in fractals. Like I think of like from like the individual body, whether we're doing like a marma acupressure, like just to understand where the stress points are. Something I've done since I was a kid for my family. Just it looks like massage or acupressure. To an individual yoga class, to a broader audience, to adding science and like having like a medical like realm with it, to understanding even like how supplements and
Yeah,
magnesium and CoQ10, like there are there's all these tools that we have access to really like to have more function and to participate more vibrantly for a longer time.
yeah, yeah. It feels quite fluid in terms of who you are. You just show up and that's it. This is the amazing Rajiv. It feels really fluid, like with your background in advertising, and I love the fact that you've got this Boy Scout mentality as well about helping the community. I'm just wondering, like, you know how everything is kind of evolving in Bali. It's not kind of structured in a certain way. Is there a time that you think that you'll become like a brand or something?
I don't think that I'll become a brand. I mean, I don't really think, I'm trying to imagine myself as a brand. Um, I, I just hope to empower those around me
Mm,
to do well. And like, there's no like thing I'm really like looking to own.
mm,
Yeah, you'll trade an hour for yoga practice, or if I'm like leading a yoga studio somewhere, like you'll be
yeah.
there. Um, but I'm also just very fortunate to be like in my family, to be among creative people,
Mm,
to be among amazing people who travel through here,
mm,
um, to see people who are trying to solve problems at like the multi-hundred hectare level or big city level, or even sometimes heads of state come through here and like get to
yeah.
ask us questions. So I do think that our sense of design for the community, our sense of designing with local natural materials, not just for a building or a village of homes,
Mm,
but now we're thinking about for like a campus or the homes around that campus,
mm,
or like 8 square meters or 8 square kilometers or 26 square kilometers of land in this part of Indonesia or Brazil or what have you, because
mm,
maybe Istanbul and Singapore and New York City can't change in ways that other
yeah.
parts of the world
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
And we get to design smart cities which include nature, which include
Mm,
things. Now, of course, we have to like draw a vacuum there to compel people to show up for the vacuum for the community to be there, because we don't know who actually
exactly.
shows up.
Yeah.
So there are people thinking about how do we actually self-select to join organizations.
Mm,
Um, like, do you self-select to join people who are really thinking about your religion and like making that look strong, or certain
mm,
kinds of ways of being for food, for like
mm,
carnivore, or um, no sugar, no preservatives,
yeah.
or having like the best of cheese and wine,
Yeah.
or dirt bikes matter most. So when you have like a few key words or phrases or actions or ways of being that like center, you'll see these people like big groups will show up. Um,
What's the common underlying factor though with these groups?
is designing beauty within nature.
Yeah, I love that you keep coming back to this because it sounds like the core value.
Well, it's like either humanity is welcome in the
Yeah.
biosphere or it's not.
Yeah.
And if humanity is welcome in the biosphere and we're designing things around that, then uh, it only gets to count as beautiful if it supports us being here longer.
Mm,
If it means radiation poisoning, or it means increased likelihood of cancer, or like increased mortality or lower birth rates, or
mm,
then we have to really revisit like
mm-hmm.
how we do these things, and like we
Yeah.
have to rewrite the fabric of trade and business and what's allowed.
Mm,
So for spilling things into the water and now the air, like plastic,
mm,
it's really quite understood that we're consuming 5 grams of plastic
mm.
every week as humans on average.
Yeah.
That's a credit card.
Mm.
Like, would you eat a credit card every Sunday?
No,
Like
but
there's
that is just
like it's
crazy.
literally going into us.
Yeah.
And I can't even say if like I'm of average or not of average. I'm guessing I'm consuming less than some people who are in like tougher, more polluted areas.
Environments. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but this is a feedback loop that has to matter, because if we're likely destroying ourselves, then
Mm,
we have a big asked. There are going to be big questions to face.
mm,
So there will be bigger questions for people who have access to the data and that information to say, hey, political leadership, hey,
mm.
what counts as, what's a big
Is
deal when it comes to
that
fraud?
is that something that you would consider moving into, like the space of politics?
I thought about it more coming out of college and being in, when I left advertising, I was just as I just listened to more.
Mm,
Um, uh, I don't see it right now. I'm a U.S. citizen living in Indonesia,
mm,
so there's no real path that makes sense there.
yeah.
Um, but I think we can vote with you know with trying on how you can like lengthen that attention span for living and playing within nature,
Mm,
and so we get to be in a creative space where that's possible.
mm,
Um,
How good's your attention span?
Yes.
Good answer. Okay, so what is no, what's next?
Um, what's next is literally kind of all these things coming together. Um, being, and I say I'm lucky because I am lucky to be in a family that's creative.
Mm,
And, um, my father-in-law gave a TED talk, I think in 2009, about an inconvenient truth, how
mm,
Al Gore ruined his life. He saw
mm.
inconvenient truth, and he realized that his business wasn't like on the right side of history when it came
Mm,
to how we like interact with heat and melting metals and participating in business. And soon after, the Green School and Bambooinda
yeah,
were founded, and then my wife and I founded Ibuku. And I think there's going to be a larger attention span for where these communities like want to be. That you'll
yeah.
find a way, and it's going to be different everywhere.
Mm,
Like in the Ukraine or in Northern Europe or the Americas
mm,
or wherever it is, will people will need to have the chance to listen for what their community really needs
yeah.
and how to participate for
Mm-hmm.
in the longest time.
Mm.
Um,
So what's next for you?
um,
Yeah, you said pulling everything together.
right now, I'm really curious to see how these bigger spaces like show up.
Okay.
If it's going to be just, do we just need another a new real estate proposition like we see in different neighborhoods of China? And I don't know China very well, but I know there's like dozens of 10 million person cities.
Mm,
Um, and there are these big projects. So if there are bigger projects and people are committed to trying
mm,
how it looks to make the most of the one world that we have, I'm
yeah.
really curious to see how we can be involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
And not only from the things
Yeah.
that exist there and how we use natural materials to do that,
Mm-hmm.
but also the services and the actions that people can participate in and how
Mm,
that can be more healthy rather than more
mm.
anxiety provoking
That's
or
exciting.
separating. And then beyond that, to actually do it in a way that we really feel like kind of recognize that whatever your most important like connection is with the biggest thing you can think of, which in
Mm,
my mind is how we like have like an intrinsic feedback loop and relationship with nature.
mm,
Um, and the extent to which I tell myself or I believe or recognize once in a while that we are ourself, that literally like in the time of us being in this room, like molecules that were part of your
mm,
body that you called you are now within me because we're in a
mm,
small space and it's contained.
mm.
Um, and if we walked in the same park together, the oxygen comes
Yeah.
out and the
Yeah.
carbon and like so there's like as we study that there's just more understanding as we get
Mm,
into quantum and smaller things that
yeah.
we're all really quite the same thing. And if we don't get on board, don't find a way to like listen for community and listen for something like a bigger idea than just making the biggest pile of gold next to my chair,
Yeah.
like what are we fighting for?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a question you keep asking every time you go into Warrior Pose. What are we fighting for?
Yeah.
I'm not fighting.
What's
What are you standing for?
well, I
Making
guess
a
next
stand
week
for?
I'll have to ask you some questions.
Oh,
Yeah, what do you stand for? What
yeah.
are you willing to use up your courage on? Your tears and your blood and sweat and your
Mm.
frustrations and your
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
shortcomings
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
excitements.
Yeah.
Like it hinges on a few key things, and there are some conversations that we're not willing to have,
100%.
and there's some questions I was not willing to have, and I'm trying to put myself in the position of facing those and
Mm.
say, why not? Why not let? Why is that? If that's taboo to the extent that I'm not willing to like solve or
Mm.
be a part of the solution, then maybe if it's that uncomfortable, maybe I should like review that and see what's in there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great lesson for everyone, really. So, is there, in terms of Rajiv, I know we're running out of time, but in terms of Rajiv, two more questions. Well, two
Okay.
questions, and I'm hoping you will answer.
Okay.
The first one is, who are you? And I don't mean your name. Who are you as you walk forward from this point on?
my college roommate used to make fun of me because he found a poem that I wrote, and like it was like on the back of a New York Times like section, like the paper, and it was like a it was called I Am, and I think it says like I am a tree, I am a this, and it's like referring to different aspects of nature that I appreciated from my hikes in the woods and the mountains and camping trips and things, and they would just like make fun of me and say Rajiv is a tree. um, and
That's beautiful, though. I think they're making fun of you, but
that's right. Um, Gautam, where you're on record now. So as I sit with my thoughts, as I find ways to like participate and share, and at moments when I feel like I'm like participating in the right way, which doesn't happen too often, in those moments, I feel like I'm light. I feel like I am like sharing light. I'm shedding light in the darkness. I'm trying to like I guess help people recognize that if there's frustrations or awkwardness, that they're not alone. That there is a way forward. That in this moment, no matter what you're going through, that there is infinite potential.
yeah.
And I don't know how to help everyone through that path for them, but I believe that it's true. And we've seen a few amazing stories around us that support that. Um, so I think I'm really lucky to have like a brain that can learn things, that can like study topics for 10 years at a time, and to actually apply them like in the most trusted situations, like in hospitals and yoga rooms and one-on-one retreats and one-on-one coaching, and like that's like it's all very, very personal. And there's like increasingly an urgency to like, without seeming desperate, to show that there is a way forward. You know, there are like trillions and billions of dollars out there bored sitting in a box, just becoming a bigger pile of dollars, when they could be participating in ways that like bring us together.
Yeah.
So I think one of my skills going forward is to listen for how to marshal or inspire big resources to literally put their money where their mouth or their heart is when it comes to being connected with their community, which in my mind is hopefully like the largest story.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And I know it's optimistic, and I know it seems naive, and there's ways where like it actually works.
It's a great intention.
Yeah, and it can be beautiful, and it doesn't have to be like hemp and patchouli and abnegation and denying yourself like how like good life can be.
Yeah.
There are ways like to participate and to actually have that connection. So there's a few of us who are like having a tough time of it, like making small businesses and like
Yeah.
like negotiating with like people who need a better price or a cheaper way to do things, and that's challenging to have to do that as well as like use the inefficiencies of like how natural things show up sometimes.
Thank you. One more question.
Okay, last
If
question.
you're okay to do this. Could you sing
Oh,
the
wow.
song that you sing at the end of the yoga session?
Yeah,
The Zulu one?
sure.
I don't know if you want to move away from the mic.
Uh,
This is very powerful.
our technical expertise would tell us if I can be this close or farther from the microphone. Does it matter? Yeah, I'll probably be twice as loud.
It's quite loud. Yeah, but it's powerful. Just get in the zone,
We'll
do what you
see.
need to do.
Set me up nicely. We'll see how it translates in your speakers at home. With the earbuds. Siya hamba ku kanyang kwengkos. 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 Siya hamba, hamba siya hamba. Hamba siya hamba ku kanyang kwengkos. Siya hamba, hamba siya hamba. Hamba siya hamba ku kanyang kwengkos. Ho, 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 ho. That's Bhatti.
Thank you so much. This was incredible. I really appreciate you asking me.
I'm with you.
I'm
Thank you for
sure there
being
are
here.
so many people that will learn so much from everything you shared.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how much was run on sentences and
One thing I will say is that your community, your family, has been really instrumental since the very beginning in shaping your life. Your father, your mother, the teachers. It's like it's you've been held.
yeah, I think
It's
I'm
such a
very blessed.
gift.
I think I'm very
Such a
blessed. When my
gift.
grandmothers passed away, I both felt them that their like hands were like with
Yeah.
me and supporting me.
Yeah.
Um,
Beautiful.
I was at a yoga conference and it was a stranger, like somebody I'd never seen before or really since. He just saw me and we were walking down the hallway and he stopped me and he says, "Do you know not Tai Chi but Qigong?"
Hmm.
And I said, "No." And he said, you are protected." And somehow that always stood with me that like he said, "You need not fear for falling."
Hmm.
And that I'm protected. And I felt like in that moment that was like a message from my grandmothers, both of them,
Yeah. Yeah.
that like that they'll be with me. Um, and it's not a complete pass, but it's. I think I am blessed. I think I'm lucky to have like my second grade teacher and my seventh grade teacher, and like I can see lessons from them, and my professors in medical school,
Yeah. Yeah.
and maybe even that one science teacher who.
Yeah. The physics
So
teacher.
I've been really lucky to have
Yeah.
deep friends who push me and ask me questions, and to have loving parents who offered social support when I left careers and
Yeah.
changed things when things seemed dark and heavy.
Hmm.
And I thank that kid who was like, I look back and sometimes see that kid who was like falling asleep crying in bed. And I do this like exercise of like yoga of time travel and just like be a fly on the wall, like in the top corner of my little bedroom, which was white wallpaper with blue hearts for all my childhood, because it was a nursery in the previous family's house.
Wow.
And just tell that kid it's okay, you're going to be this guy someday. And like falling asleep crying and then realizing that like, okay, it's going to be okay. Um, it's yeah, it's a journey. Well, thank you
Thank you for
for seeing me.
sharing. Thank you.
Guys, if you've been here this long, this is from awkward.
That's long. Sorry.
And thank you. We'll see you soon. Good. How's my hair? My hair's okay?
Here's good.
How's the makeup?
Makeup's great.
I like the French version the best. Rajiv.
It says,
Rajiv.
yeah. Rajiv.
Rajiv is America. Rajiv. Rajiv. In Germany, I was Rajiv. Choni. Chif. Rajiv. Rajiv, come here. Ich habe zwei Kästchen. Mais quand on parle en français, il y a beaucoup de choses. Il y a Rajiv. And in Spanish, I'm Raif or Rajiv. Rajiv. It's
Yeah.
like J meets Y. Rajiv.
Yeah. Rajiv.
Like I come to the yoga with Rajiv.
Yeah.
So Y and J get similar. Because they want to say Rahif because the H, it's a
Yeah.
H sound like
Yeah.
Javier.
Rajiv. Yeah.
And the Brits call
Uh-huh.
me Rajiv.
Rajiv.
Rajiv. It's like both E's would get
Yeah,
pronounced.
yeah, yeah.
Rajimon, Rajiv, Rajiv. It's like it like dies. Rajiv,
Rajiv.
Rajiv, Rajiv. And in
Rajiv.
Japan,
It's
Rajbu,
different.
Rajbu.